Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. Life moves pretty fast, doesn't it?
It really does.
And we all kind of feel caught up in the whirlwind, routines, responsibilities,
Mm.
just the constant buzz of things we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, right in the middle of all that, this uh, quiet thought can pop up, capturing moments, maybe preserving memories.
Right.
But then, if you're like, well, a lot of people, that thought immediately hits a sort of internal wall, this feeling of, I'm just not ready to start that yet.
Oh, yeah. That feeling of being unready, it's incredibly common, isn't it? And it can show up in so many different ways.
It's easy to push it aside, too,
Yeah.
to just think, oh, I'll remember the important things, or maybe I can definitely do this later, when life calms down a bit.
Exactly, later. That famous later.
Right. And so this deep dive, it's really for anyone who feels that kind of hesitation.
Mm-hmm.
We've been looking at some source material that really digs into this specific feeling, the experience of, well, not feeling prepared or ready to preserve memories right now.
Yeah, and our mission here is really to understand why this resistance feels so normal, at least according to this text.
Right, based on what the text is telling us. And then maybe uncover some gentle approaches the material suggests for when you do feel ready to take maybe just a small step.
And what's really fascinating in this particular reading is how it acknowledges that, engaging with memory preservation, it can sometimes feel like opening a door you're not quite sure you want to walk through yet.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it describes it not just as like a task, but potentially as a bit of a weight,
Oh, wait, yeah?
especially if it feels like it might stir up emotions or reflections you just aren't quite prepared to handle right now.
That really resonates. I mean, it's not always just about finding the time in a busy schedule, is it?
No, not at all.
Sometimes it just feels like another demand, something you should be doing.
Exactly. And adding another should onto an already busy life can make it feel less like, a meaningful activity.
And more like a chore.
Yeah, exactly. A chore that just keeps slipping down the priority list.
So this material, it raises a really important question.
Mm-hmm.
Why exactly might someone feel this sense of not being ready?
Mm-hmm.
And it offers several, I think, quite compelling reasons. A big one it highlights is grief.
Ah, yes. Grief.
Revisiting memories, especially ones tied to loved ones who aren't with us anymore.
Mm.
That can be intensely painful when you're still, processing that loss.
Absolutely. And the text frames this hesitation not really as avoidance necessarily, but more as like a natural part of the healing process itself.
That makes complete sense. Grief definitely adds a whole layer of complexity.
It really does.
And then, like you touched on before, there's just the sheer relentless busyness of modern life.
Oh, for sure.
We're constantly living in the moment, reacting to what's right in front of us,
Constantly putting out fires, yeah.
and carving out that mental space or even physical space to pause and document things. It just feels like a luxury maybe we don't have time for.
Absolutely. And the material kind of couples that busyness with that common internal monologue you mentioned earlier.
I'll remember part.
Yeah, exactly. That thought that I'll remember the important parts anyway, or I can always do this later.
Right.
Another reason it explores is just the simple paralysis of not knowing where to even begin.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah. When you're faced with like a whole lifetime of memories, the question, what do I even write down? What's actually worth saving? It can feel completely overwhelming.
Totally. Where do you even start?
And the text even touches on a kind of social dimension, this maybe surprising worry some people might have about starting to preserve memories for someone else.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, the material suggests some might worry it could seem, I don't know, premature, or even somehow offensive, maybe, as if you're anticipating an ending.
I see, like it sends the wrong message.
Potentially, yeah. So it lists these feelings and others as, entirely normal barriers.
Okay. And the key message then that seems woven through this text is that it's genuinely okay to wait.
Yes, very much so.
There's no external deadline or rule dictating when you must start preserving memories.
Right. Life has seasons, doesn't it?
It does.
And if this season feels too full or maybe too raw or just not right for this kind of reflection, that's completely validated by this perspective in the text.
That is actually a huge relief to hear, I think.
Yeah.
So the material suggests memories don't have this hard expiration date in terms of their potential to be recalled or documented later.
Exactly. And it often suggests it's better to approach it when you feel genuinely ready, even if that readiness is just for a tiny step rather than trying to force it.
Okay. Waiting can sometimes let you come back with maybe a clearer head or a different perspective even.
Precisely. However, and this is where it gets really interesting, I think.
Okay.
While the text reassures that waiting is totally acceptable, it also carefully highlights what it calls a quiet risk in waiting too long.
A quiet risk.
It's not like a forceful warning, not at all, but more like a gentle nudge towards awareness.
Okay, awareness of what? What sort of risk does the source describe?
Well, it's about the subtle, gradual erosion of detail.
Ah, the little things.
Exactly. The text points out that the small things, like the specific sound of someone's laughter or the precise way they phrased a story they always told,
Yeah.
or just the vivid sensory details of a particular day, those things can fade much faster than we might expect.
Hmm.
You know, photos exist, sure, but the context around them, that can get forgotten.
All right, who was there? What were we talking about?
Exactly. And stories might remain in outline, but the personal voice telling them, that might not always be there to prompt the full recall. It's that quiet loss of nuance that the material draws our attention to.
Oh, that's a powerful reminder and very relatable, I think.
Yeah.
It really underscores why, even if you don't feel fully ready for some massive project,
Right.
the source suggests that even a tiny step now could make a really meaningful difference against that quiet fading.
Exactly right. And that leads us very neatly into the part of the material that offers these gentle ways to start for when you are ready to take that small step.
Okay. Gentle ways.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, the emphasis is entirely on low pressure, low stakes, zero expectation of perfection or, even completion.
Okay, let's dive into those then. What are some of these very manageable approaches it suggests?
Okay, so one really simple suggestion from the material is whenever a specific memory just kind of surfaces, maybe it's triggered by a photo or a smell or a conversation.
Yeah, happens all the time.
Right. Just jot down a single sentence or two about it. That's it.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be some polished narrative. Just a quick note on your phone or a scrap of paper, whatever's easiest right there.
So the goal is just capturing that specific detail or feeling in that moment.
Exactly. Just pinning it down quickly.
That feels incredibly manageable. It really reframes it from write your entire life story to just capture this one fleeting thought right now.
Precisely. Another idea presented is to simply make a point of asking a loved one to share a story with you.
No, I like that.
Yeah, and the text suggests you don't even need to worry about recording it yet, if that feels like too much.
Okay.
Just the act of asking and listening and connecting with the memory through their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That's itself a form of engaging with the past. It can be a really gentle starting point.
That's a beautiful way to begin, actually. Very human-centered, focusing on the connection rather than just the documentation.
Exactly.
Okay, what other practical suggestions does the source offer?
It also suggests creating a designated, very low-pressure digital space.
Okay, like what?
Maybe just a simple folder on your phone or your computer. Call it something like, I don't know, memories for later or stuff to sort eventually.
Ah, I like that. Stuff to sort eventually.
Right. The idea is just to drop things in there, photos, maybe quick voice memos, screenshots of texts, whatever informal little scraps you have,
Yep.
without any pressure at all to organize them or process them immediately. It's just a holding tank, really, for potential memory triggers down the line.
That's brilliant. It completely removes that burden of structure or like curation at the initial capture stage.
Totally. Just gather the raw material.
Love it. Okay. Anything else?
And finally, for those moments when you do feel maybe a small spark of motivation, but you just don't know what to focus on.
Yeah, the blank page problem.
Exactly. The material mentions using prompts.
Oh.
Whether they're from books or websites or even just you thinking, okay, what's one vivid memory I have from when I was 10?
Right.
Prompts can give you a gentle structure and direct your thoughts to a specific, limited point. Makes it feel much less like staring into the void.
These all sound so much less daunting, don't they, than the sort of traditional image of starting a memoir or some detailed archive.
Absolutely.
The whole message really feels centered around giving yourself grace throughout the process.
It truly does. I think the core message coming from this material is that preserving memories isn't really about creating a perfect, comprehensive historical document.
Right. It's not for a museum.
Exactly. It's about capturing the moments that resonate with you, the details you don't want to lose, and doing it on your own terms when you feel ready. Even if that readiness only extends to taking the absolute smallest possible step. It's okay if today isn't the day for a big project.
Yeah.
It's okay if you just capture one thing.
It really frames it as a gift, doesn't it? I think
Yeah.
the source describes these captured memories as a gift, maybe to your future self.
Yeah,
A
definitely.
way to reconnect with who you were,
Mm,
what mattered, and also a gift to the people you love.
for sure. Offering them a connection to shared experiences, family history, that sort of thing.
Yeah. A way to hold on to the beauty in the meaning, even amidst the, busy, messy, sometimes overwhelming reality of daily life.
Well said. And the crucial part is remembering you don't have to tackle the whole gift wrapping all at once.
Right. Just start with a ribbon, maybe.
Or a tiny tag.
Yeah.
Exactly, when you can.
Okay, so let's try and pull together the key takeaways from this deep dive then.
Sounds good.
First, it seems it's completely normal to feel hesitant or uh, unready to jump into preserving memories.
Totally normal. And the material we looked at confirms lots of valid reasons for this, like busyness or processing grief, or just simply not knowing where on earth to start.
Right. And while waiting is perfectly okay, memories don't just, vanish into thin air.
No,
The
that's,
source does gently highlight that quiet risk we talked about,
yeah, that risk of those specific precious details fading over time if they aren't captured in some form. The nuances.
which is why when you are ready to take a step, however small that step might be,
Hmm.
the gentle, no-pressure approaches suggested can make a real difference without feeling overwhelming.
Absolutely. Like, quickly jotting down a single memory or inviting a loved one to share a story.
Or creating that simple for later folder for digital scraps.
Yeah, or using prompts just to focus your thoughts a little.
And giving yourself grace seems absolutely central to this whole process, according to the text.
Completely. It's not about achieving perfection at all.
No.
It's about the simple act of capturing moments, really as a genuine gift for your future self and for those you care about.
Whenever you feel able to take just that small step.
Exactly.
Okay, so final thought to leave folks with then. Given that life does move fast and those details can subtly fade,
Hmm.
what single tiny step could you take today, maybe even right now, to capture just one memory, even if you don't feel fully ready to do anything more?